started. Chaser Talk Radio.
He's drinking that with no chaser.
Yeah. What's Yep.
We have to tell you about it. So you have something.
I saw that one. I saw Coming to America.
You saw the reruns. You saw it on TV when they had commercials.
I can't remember. I wish I went to the movie theater. I can't remember. Yeah. Yeah. I saw that one.
Folks, we're welcome. We welcome you here. Thank you.
Use your words. Use your words. Yes, sir. Yeah. Professor M. That's what I do. What's that, sir? Well, be, before we go any further, one thing that we have to do is we have to say a special shout out to Simi So Real, who is recovering, and Sophisticated Shannon has been giving us updates on her condition. And if you're listening from your Straight No Chaser family, we hope you heal up and rest up and get up and have some fun.
And come on back. Also, before we get started, everyone that's watching and listening to us on Facebook, please share to your page. Tell a friend. Tell somebody about what we're doing. Tell somebody about what we're doing. Still mad. Still mad.
Yes, sir.
Oh, wait, hold on, Wendell. I'm sorry. We just started this morning. We started a little late today, but we're going to be here with you about an hour. Thanks for checking in on us tonight, Ben.
Well, let me ask you this first before we even get into that. Do you plan you've received the shot, correct? Both of them. Okay, Shannon.
Yes, I got my first shot done last weekend. Next one is on the 20th, so I'm working on it.
Okay, and I did too. Now, I know that there has been a host of comments regarding what Texas and Mississippi are doing in terms of opening up and so forth, and you know, pros and cons. And what I will say is, you're gonna laugh at this, then bad, but I actually I get it. I understand. It reminds me of. Remember back in Baltimore when we would get like when we used to have real winters and you used to get like 300 feet of snow, and there was for the first day or so everybody's good because you have your cookies going and whatever was coming on television, everybody was pretty much good to go. But as the days wore on and the time grew longer, you started getting antsy, and some of that is what's going on here. Because my wife and I were talking the other day, saying, "Man, I really miss the days of just being able to go somewhere and get a hamburger and sit out and have a drink and all that kind of stuff." And so I think some of what you're seeing is cabin fever on steroids because folks they're ready to get out now. Now, don't get me wrong, you've got some folks throughout this whole process, and I don't care what your background is, your education level, or whatever, that have been like, you know what, this is crazy. I'm not getting a shot. I'm not going to wear a mask or whatever their situation is, and that covers the spectrum of religions and races and so forth. I had a conversation with a friend of mine back in Maryland, and this was when the pandemic was really hot and heavy, and he was like, "Man, I don't know about all this. This I don't think it's real and all this other kind of stuff." So I've heard that, and I'm sure you all have heard it too. But I will say I think that there's been so much there's been so much misinformation. There's been so many folks who on the other side of the coin that are just they're terrified of this whole situation. And now that the vaccine is coming out, everyone's like, when is it coming out? And then they've been having some problems in places rolling it out. And when you put it in a bag and shake it up, I think you have a recipe for how long before I can just, go to 7-Eleven and get a Slurpee without having to have a helmet on my face.
I get that too, but we still have a pandemic out here. It's not over. I can see Texas is like in the top 10 of giving out their vaccination shots, but they're not. They're in the bottom 6.
Yeah. But you know what? I think one of the things and it's just like, all those lessons that all of us learn throughout our lives, when your mom told you or your dad told you, all right, if you go over there and you touch that thing, it's hot. And you're like, yeah, I hear you, Dad. I hear you, Mom. Right, right, right. But one day you just got to go over there and touch it. And when you're looking at the skin peeling off your hands, like, oh, I guess it is hot. So for some people, they're gonna have to touch the stove in order for them to understand that this thing is still percolating and it's still real. You know, I think this is the point now where folks are gonna have to make some serious choices for themselves. Am I going to, rush out and go to the circus next week, or am I just going to wait and let more people get vaccinated and wait for the CDC or whoever the governing health organization is in their jurisdiction? Say, okay, we're at a point now where, medically, we're good to go. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Well, I think one of the things that perhaps people should consider, and I'm talking about the various officials across the country. If you're going to do that, if you're going to open up, at least in that same vein, recommend to people you have to make the choice of whether or not you're going to come out and go to these places. If they're going to insist on opening, um, I think it's always incumbent in your messaging to let people know, there's still a pandemic out here. People are still dying from it. People are still getting infected. Now obviously the rates are going down, and in some places very significantly. But I just think that they just really need to remind people that, okay, yep, the hamburger Hamlet is open. They're open 24 hours a day, but just remember there is still a thing going on here, and if you're going to come out, you need to really think about whether you're going to actually try to sit in that restaurant at full capacity, or whether you're going to order some carry out and take it home and eat it among your family and friends, or whatever the case may be. I think if they're going to insist on doing that, at least do that. That's my humble opinion.
I agree. It boils down to common sense.
Yep.
Because we just hit the million mark of deaths from COVID. So for people to say it's not a real deal, that's kind of hard to believe what's going on. Or the hospitals just saying it's COVID to get the money. So it's really, yeah. I want to live to see about 60 more years. Same thing Ben just said. He just said he wants to live to see about 60 more years.
Yeah, and
Living with COVID.
yeah, and I think, uh, well, it's just interesting to me that you have a lot of different dynamics going on with this vaccine. Of course, you have members of the African American community, some members who have very fond memories of the Tuskegee experiment going on. Then you have, and so for those reasons, they're skeptical about getting the virus, and some have chosen not to. You have other folks that don't believe that this COVID thing is real. For them, they're not getting a virus. You have other folks that feel like, I'm just going to wait and see if Shannon's face falls off after she gets hers, and they're not getting the virus shot. So you've got to, and I've just scratched the surface in terms of explanations people are giving for not, wanting to get the shot, or they're waiting and so forth and so on. But, uh, well, I can't answer that because, I don't know what the motivation is. But what I can say is that they've decided that they're going to go full steam on this and reopening everything. And so they had a what now? Yeah, I mean, and again, people are going to have to make their own decisions in terms of, is this something I want to do? Now, personally, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, personally, yeah. Now, I